The things man wants. Food. Good food, preferably, that his wife and family can all enjoy. Clothing. Clothing to cover and, hopefully, to make one more beautiful. A roof over his head, not just for its shelter, but for the pleasure of the things that he can accumulate to make his life richer and more comfortable. A man likes to stretch his muscles and test his skills for the fun of it, just as he takes pride in doing his best on the job. It's not unusual that people who have regular work know that they can meet their needs today and build their security for the future. Nor is it unusual for people to want to improve themselves, their personality, their talent, their culture. It's not unusual that a man and a woman want things. Things that bring joy and a sense of fulfillment into their lives. What is unusual is that everyone we have seen so far is part of the post office family. The first step. The first step into the schoolroom. The first step onto a new job is always shaky. You can stumble, fall flat on your face, and it's not because you're not sure-footed, because most people always get butterflies when they start something new.
Welcome to the post office family, and it is a large...
You're not the first person or the only person who's new at the post office. There's someone just like you doing the same thing today in Detroit, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and Newark, and in smaller towns like Providence and Albuquerque, Springfield and Fresno, Columbia, Ashtabula, and you name it. The same as you, did I say? Not really. Some of us just came to try to pick up a few months' pay and then split. Others figure a year or two, if it works out. And still others, who have a serious desire to make a career in the Postal Service, know that it will work out, because they will make the effort to make sure it works out. One thing for sure, the post office can always use people who are willing and able to do a good job, and it's not a temporary need.
You must use this badge card to record your time, and record your time accurately. So take care of this if you want to be paid. But paydays are...
If he wants to be paid, sure he wants to be paid, man.
Employee. Retirement, which may be a long way off, since this is your first day of employment. Their health insurance.
I could use a couple of aspirins right now.
Annual leave. There will be sick leave. And night differential for those of you who work at night. You will be paid.
I wonder what I've gotten myself into.
Then there's life insurance, which will protect your family
I'm hungry.
in the event it is needed. And now we're going to take you on a tour of our post office. We're going to show you on film some of the things that you might be doing in your career as a postal employee.
All over the country, heavy mail deposits are made at the close of the business day. And so the Postal Service gets its heaviest burden of work when most business days end. A business letter sent tonight is often delivered the next morning. All over the country, large amounts of mail are being collected. From business concerns, banks, mail order houses, insurance companies, utility companies, and the thousands of other kinds of large mail users. And in 1,000 different cities, towns, and villages, the same things are going on in residential areas. These mail collections are hurried to the post office, where they unload the mail for sorting, routing, and delivery to its destination. Unloading the mail sacks at the post office is the first of a series of procedures which speeds the mail towards its destination. Mail handlers start breaking down the bulk of the mail by removing those pieces that are oversized or odd-shaped, which cannot be processed by the canceling machine. This is called culling. Mail that cannot be canceled by machine is hand canceled. Most of the mail is faced and canceled by machine. The operator feeds the mail into the facer canceller machine. An electric eye finds the stamp. The stamp is automatically canceled, and then the envelopes are faced correctly. The LSM is short for letter sorting machine. A skilled operator at the keyboard reads and routes mail as fast as the machine positions a letter in front of her. This letter sorting machine has no keyboards because it is connected to an OCR, short for optical character reader, an electronic device that actually reads printed or typewritten addresses and automatically directs them to the proper sorting bins of this LSM. With over 200 million potential mail users in America and the promise of more, it is easy to understand the importance of these machines for serving the needs of the public. This man is placing mail flow codes on trays so that they will drop off in their proper places automatically. Mail to New York for New York dispatch. Dallas, Butte, Keokuk, San Diego to its dispatch place. Alaska, another. Not all mail can be handled by machine. Skilled hands will always be needed to speed the mail towards its destination. This clerical force has mastered a scheme of distribution and can distribute the mail rapidly and accurately. Mail between connecting cities or suburbs is not always processed at the main city post office. If a letter is mailed from Queens, Long Island to White Plains or from Glendale to Santa Monica, a metropolitan interchange system transfers the mail and sends it directly to the community, where it will be sorted, processed, and delivered. Special delivery, as the name implies, gets special expediting at the post office and delivery to the addressee by special delivery messengers. What is sent through the mail can be long and narrow, small and heavy, square, round, or oddball. The mail comes in all sizes and shapes. Sometimes it even cheaps. We've seen the procedures of handling and the processing of incoming mail. Distributing the outgoing mail follows a similar pattern, almost in reverse. The mail is placed in sacks to be delivered to the post office nearest its final destination. Huge trailer trucks provide the links between cities, so critically needed since railroads schedule fewer trains. Large airmail shipments are containerized for contract air freight and airline carriers. Orange sacks mean airmail. They receive priority treatment. Green sacks carry first-class mail that travels by air when space is available. Giant airliners lift tons of mail across a vast country, with every major city only a few hours away. Frequent schedules of airliners give quick and efficient transport of the mail. Some postal employees are responsible for the receipt of mail transported by air, and they expedite the distribution process. Metropolitan deliveries are made from central post offices to carrier branches and stations, and then delivered by the mail carriers. They deliver wherever the mail must go. Large and small offices alike. Concentrated developments and single residences. Isolated hillsides made accessible by special vehicles. Remote places, country places, from the biggest cities to the smallest hamlets. Country USA keeps in touch through the pickups and deliveries of the legendary rural carrier. Those who are new in the postal system sometimes have difficulty relating the importance of their job to the overall picture. Yet, every man's work provides a link in the chain of operations that move the mail. Postal employees soon learn the responsibility or trust that is put upon them in handling the mail, and how their personal integrity preserves what we call the sanctity of the mail. Feeding thousands of letters into machines hour after hour can make a person forget that every letter has a significance, an importance to someone. tiny piece of mail to announce the arrival of a new little citizen. A letter that means food and comfort and medical aid. A message from a lonesome air base to brighten the memories of a loving mother. The mail is the only contact for those far away from their birthplace. We live in a world of people, and in this people world, nothing is more important than communications. The mail is our most primary and necessary line of communication, carrying the thoughts and ideas of one person to another, bringing education, information, and advice. The mail transports our Federal Reserve, and it carries the dollar that helps send a child to camp. It affords the avenues of recourse and redress for our personal affairs. It carries our will to our representatives and does much to improve the quality of government. The mail is important to everyone who sends it and everyone who receives it. It is most important to those who are entrusted with its safe handling.
Are there any questions from any of you? I know there's a lot to remember in that picture. I was confused when I first came into the post office. What with the schemes and the routing and the machinery. But nothing would work right. The mail couldn't move if it weren't for good people. People who started here just like you, today.
I was told to report to Section 120. What type of work do they do there?
Well, you'll be working on the dock. And that's where mail handlers load and unload trailers. Now, the work is hard, but it's necessary. And a big fella like you shouldn't have any trouble down there anyway.
Your supervisor is interested in your well-being. He'll show you the right way to lift and give you other safety advice. Loading and unloading isn't easy work, but it's got to be done, whether it's the post office or a produce market, an auto parts factory, or any place where materials have to be moved.
I heard there were 3 places to start at the post office.
Well, you must mean the 3 largest job groupings. The mail handler, the clerks, the letter carrier, and there's maintenance people for machinery, buildings, and vehicles, vehicle drivers, and their special delivery messengers.
What do new clerks do?
Oh, there are many kinds of things you can be assigned to, but you'll probably start in the mail sorting. At first, it'll come slow, but your rate of speed in sorting will increase when you get to know the case. And later, you'll be learning a scheme.
The scheme. They take the word scheme pretty seriously around here. But now I know that a post office scheme is a system for separating and routing mail. Since I've learned the scheme, things go much faster. Sometimes I think this is pretty routine, and it can get pretty boring. Then I get to thinking about the place I used to work at back in Missouri. They were going to promote me to being an inspector. An inspector looking for cracks in bottles. Talk about boring. I guess all production line work gets pretty routine, but at least what I do has a purpose that I believe in. Oh, I suppose a person can receive a nasty letter just like he can get a sweet one. And there are bills in here, just as many as there are checks. It's factory work, all right, and it can get a little tiring. But Santa Claus has got a workshop, too.
Indeed, Santa Claus has his workshop, but he traded in his reindeer years ago for the delivery services of the U.S. mail. If you ever wanted to figure out just how important the Postal Service is at Christmas, just think how far Santa Claus could get without his reindeer. Even though man has learned how to travel in space, he is still limited to being in one place at a time. The postal worker should learn to confine his celebrating so that it doesn't affect his work. Some new employees assigned to night shifts or weekend work act as if it's a plot against them, but it's not. Mail moves at night. Airline and airport employees work at night. So do the people who run the railroad. Buses move around the clock. Some truckers are night drivers. Essential services must be provided 24 hours a day for those who go out at night and for the many others who work. Those of you who will become letter carriers can expect that most of your time will be spent outdoors. You'll get to know what to look forward to and what to avoid. But the preparation for your day starts with your setting up a routing delivery case for the mail you'll deliver. You'll learn to keep a route book current and use it for forwarding of mail and filing changes of addresses, to collect postage due and obtain the proper receipts for accountable mail. You'll be entrusted with master keys so that you'll have access to mailboxes for delivery. Eventually, you will become an experienced letter carrier with your day in the sun. That is, when it's not raining or snowing. We need people who like to meet the public, to sell stamps, to do the many other things that must be done to move the mail.
About weekends, can we count on any?
We can't say yes or no as a promise, and I don't want to mislead you because you need seniority before you have a real choice of any work shift. But working weekends isn't as bad as you might think. The stores during the week are not as crowded as Saturday. The park, the zoo, tennis courts, you can even go down to a golf course during the week. Yes?
I just signed on as a substitute. If I do okay, is there any chance for study?
That reminds me of another fellow who came here temporarily.
So you are just here temporarily, huh? Well, there's no guarantee that you can get on permanent, but there's always a good chance. Many people, when they take a job, just think of it as temporary. And frankly, I did. But now, 24 years later, I have to reevaluate the meaning of that word temporary a little bit. A lot of things can happen in a man's lifetime, and a job with the post office has been the foundation of a lot of families and successful careers. Of course, when you're new at it, it's rough, and you have to sweat out the getting acquainted period and the time between promotions, but there are other compensations. I think of the post office service sometimes as if it were a life stream. It is a mainstream of communication. Moving the mail may be just a job, but the mail itself is important. When you get settled down to your jobs and get to know some of the employees who've been here a while, you'll begin to understand what I mean.
Get a truck over here for those outsides. Here's the Nixies. Hey, you, get off that skid.
Hey, watch out for that nutting truck.
Catch the slugs. Out of the aisle. That's not a work area.
Spike the skids.
Send me the bum.
Hey, you, Johnny, you'd have to get out of the way, son. Something wrong? You got traffic?
What's a Nixie?
A Nixie is a piece of mail that has something wrong with it. In the post office, we use our own language. Bums are empty bags. Large hampers are called orders. Get it? It takes a while, but you'll get it.
The first few weeks, I thought I'd blow my mind. After that, I sort of got used to it. Now, I don't feel like I'm in the way so much. I'm more part of it.
City dispatch time. Dispatch time.
City dispatch time. Dispatch time.
You must be new here.
What do you
mean new? I've been working here for 6 months. How about you?
6 months and 22 years. Play golf?
Golf? No.
Too bad. One of our foursomes strained a ligament. Good game. You ought to learn it.
Golf? Gosh.
Most large post offices operate cafeterias and snack areas where employees can have a good hot breakfast, lunch, or dinner at prices they can't match on the outside. Meal times are important beyond nutrition. New employees get a chance to meet others who can teach them not only the skills of their jobs, but how to live a little better life. It's a chance to exchange stories and experiences, a chance to complain a little, a chance to relate what you are doing with what the other person does, and learn from their experience.
Poor kid. She must be starved.
Food at last.
First week. I wouldn't want to go through that again.
Another little one taking her first step.
What a pretty dress. She must be important.
I wish they'd change the menu in here every Thursday. Salisbury steak. I love Salisbury steak, but every Thursday?
Well, I'm not going to take her by the hand. Nobody took me.
She's new and timid. I'll have to let her know that we like her.
I didn't come here to get stuck in a great big coal barn nights and be pushing weights.
Well, that's not exactly the way we see it.
And don't give me any of that through rain and snow and hail business. It may have been good enough for my old man, but it ain't good enough for me.
I hadn't intended to bring that up. Seems we have a failure to communicate.
Yeah.
You know, the post office needs people who are willing to go to work. When you first came here, you wanted to go to work. What happened to change your mind?
I ain't changed. But one man tells me one thing, then another man tells me something else. First I'm going to be here, then I'm going to be there, and I'm nowhere.
Well, I see your point. But we're all here to move the mail. Sometimes we have to move people to get the job done.
Yeah, but you get pushed around all your life, then you get pushed back and forth on the job.
Well, you have a right to complain. And we're trying to make improvements here, too.
Well, I guess I'm just feeling sorry for myself.
No. If you really have a problem, I want to hear it.
Well, I don't want to be a...
Look, if I can help you, I help myself. Now, let's get to the bottom of this.
Well, if you really want to talk.
Postal employees receive paid vacations. We also have a credit union you may join. It permits you to invest your savings and gain interest. It also allows you to borrow money at favorable rates after you've been here for a certain period of time. But I want to caution you about something. Make sure you learn how to live on what you make. Learn how to save. Watch your charge accounts and deal with people who have a good reputation.
The Postal Service cooperates with a number of medical plans, and it is developing an improved health program. Safety experts are on a constant drive to improve safety conditions for all employees. Counselors are available to employees who seek advice about housing and transportation problems and personal affairs. You will be one of this legion of over 700,000 who are responsible for the mail in our 50 states. How you will fare in your work, how you adjust to conditions, how you will react to the benefits and the difficulties cannot be guaranteed. It's partially the post office's responsibility, but it's yours as well. The rain and the snow and the hail that our faithful couriers face to deliver their sacred trust, the mail, may be a strange language to those today who are more concerned with now rather than tradition. But who is to say they are not serving, just as their fathers did? A lonesome parcel sorting area at night is this man's rain and snow and hail. And even if he doesn't agree to the words of an old post office tradition, he is performing its task. For some people, the post office has provided the basis for raising a family, putting children through college, and pleasant retirement. For others, it has provided security and given them the opportunity to extend their personal interests and abilities. The same clever fingers that play exciting music on this keyboard lend their talent to a post office keyboard. And the patience and exactness that goes into a golf stroke is the patience and exactness that is expected of a man who performs a vital service to his community. The opportunity to find oneself in a community of people who respond to one another's personal problems is here. And the chance to better oneself is here too. That doesn't mean the pay raises and promotions are easy to come by. It does mean that the opportunity to have a steady income is offered. Some people build their world slowly, but more surely, when they live within their means. Their patience may not be totally rewarded, but their life can be rewarding in many different ways. What does the postal system expect from you? A good day's work. And in exchange, you expect a good day's pay. Now, you've heard that a job in the postal system can provide security. And the proof of the fact is that the needs of hundreds of thousands of families are satisfied with a regular paycheck. But when a man has food, clothing, and shelter assured, he often looks for something more. He may want the satisfaction of knowing that he's doing something worthwhile, something with purpose, something important. The postal system stands high on the list of vital services. Any job, no matter how small it may seem, that helps move the mail safely towards its destination is an important job. To understand its importance, you'd have to travel with every letter and package to its destination. You're not a doctor, yet in one piece of mail, there is important medical information. You're not a lawyer, or a statesman, or a scientist. And yet, through your hands, speeds information that is vital to these professions. You're not an architect or corporate treasurer, but you provide the communicational link between planning and building, between companies and stockholders. Take credit for helping doctors, lawyers, businessmen. Understand that when you do your job helping move the mail, you're helping the architects and builders of mankind. And if you do the best job you know how, take satisfaction that you are contributing in your own way towards a better world, a world in which you have found your place.